and welcome to Silvail Castle, my Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War 0% growths playthrough. First off, you'll notice that I'm putting Lexus very far forward, considering the Cross Knights that are about to spawn, but she's completely fine. She's deep enough in the forest that due to them slowing movement, she can't get attacked, not even with the javelin. So this castle is going to be your first taste as a viewer, if you haven't already played the game and don't already know, of how ridiculous a character Levin is, even at his base level. Unpromoted and without any stat ups, he has 45 avoid when he carries the speed ring, which he has now, 1-2 range, and 2 super powerful skills that I'm augmenting with pursuit, so that he can essentially reasonably reliably one-round pretty much everything in this game. His only real weakness is his low movement and obviously his defense, but he never gets hit, which means that he can take on whole mobs of enemies, as you see him doing now, slaughtering the Cross Knights. His movement is a problem because this is Fire Emblem 4, and infantry are even worse off than in most other games in the series, but next level he's going to have Leg Ring Silvail and Rescue Staff Lachesis to carry him all over the map, so it's not that big an issue. However, even though this castle is pretty much Levin's rampage and where Sigurd kind of hands off the reins of the team to Levin, he still does a bit, but he's no longer the undisputed best character. There are a few other side objectives going on. So Do is trying to get the Restore Staff village so that he can sell the Restore Staff for even more money, because I want him to be able to dump it on other people. And other units are getting into position for the Orghill Pirate Charge. Also, as many of you will know who have played Fire Emblem 4, when you talk to Eltshan with Lachesis, it makes him run away and gives her the Earth Sword, a sword that can cast Resire. So this also gets him to flee the battlefield, which is probably more important because he's a nightmare to kill even with growths, and on 0% growths I'm pretty sure killing him would be impossible without sacrificing a bunch of characters, so glad I can get rid of him. It does unfortunately put Lachesis in harm's way, because she can be attacked by the Cross Knights, and due to where Eltshan moves one of the Armor Knights guarding the way into Silvail. But soon you'll see something very stupid about the AI that makes this really quite safe. Also, I forgot to move Noish up. It's a small mistake, but it's no big deal. I can sacrifice someone else if push comes to shove. So here I'm going to have to do a tiny bit of RNG abuse to make sure Levin doesn't get hit. Even though he does have such good evade, these enemies have reasonably good hit, and I don't want to have him go down on health because he has to take a lot of punishment. So now I cry as Eltshan goes off and gets murdered, but thankfully leaves the battlefield, thank God. And I do a bit more RNG abuse so that Holland can proc Luna because he needs it to take down the Cross Knights in one round. And now I'm doing a tiny bit of item management. Unfortunately, this is the last castle in the game where Quan will do anything and fight, unless you technically count Chapter 5, where you watch him get murdered by a group of units I don't even kill. So he's selling off the shield ring to Sigurd. It's quite sad that I'm losing Quan. I don't think he'd do much in Chapter 4 anyways because of all the magic and the fact that his stats haven't gone up, but he's done quite a lot for the team, and sad to see him go. One more objective that I have to do, or one sub-objective that plays into the next battle, is pushing Aideen super far forward. On a lot of other playthroughs with growths, I could probably have Lachesis promoted by now by having her clear the entirety of both arenas, which she could probably do with growths and careful prayer manipulation. So she can normally just charge ahead and warps Sigurd over to Medino after I'm done with this castle, but I don't have that luxury, and the only person on my team who can currently use the warp staff is Ideen. Therefore, I need to push her super far forward, which is hard due to her low defense, the fact that she needs to be glued to Azel every turn, and her low movement. So I'm putting her in harm's way. Over there you saw the thing that I mentioned. For some reason they all attacked Holland even though they could kill Lachesis. I have no idea why they did that. There's some characters that the AI just likes to attack for inexplicable reason. There's Ethlyn, there's Holland. At least with Ethlyn I can kind of understand why they do that, because she has low defense. Holland, I have no idea why they're going for him over a 7 health Lachesis, or an Azel, or an Ideen, or a Silvail, but there you have it. It allows me to not have to RNG abuse a huge amount there. Because of their love for attacking Holland, in fact, I barely have to do any RNG abuse this castle, at least compared to some other things I've done. So here the path forward is pushed through. Want to get rid of these units before they start moving around and attacking and getting in the way. Also because I need to move Azel and Ideen through that choke, and I don't want them killed, obviously. Both important units to their... Well, they aren't important. Their lover conversation is important. And Ideen does a little bit. And here I'm bringing in a bit so that Lachesis can fight to get a little shred of experience. I haven't planned out the final bit of this chapter yet in terms of turn-by-turn thing, but she may be in trouble and barely not be able to promote, so even a tiny bit of chip experience like that, it matters. And here Silvia continues to help them push forward, as they need to. Another one of the reasons I like this chapter more is even playing at a relatively quick turn count, well, quite quick for no growths. Even with growths it would be relatively quick. Infantry can actually contribute a lot on this map. Like here you see, because of the different directions the army must take, that I've actually managed to get my infantry quite far ahead of my mounts, and they've taken on a major enemy squad by themselves, so I like that. It's rare in Fire Emblem 4 that there's a castle where the infantry can just completely shine. This and Maclilly Castle, both areas. Also Orga Hill, because as you can see here, it's possible to get Ira ahead. She's, with her hero sword, she's going to be responsible for butchering the entirety of the on-rushing group of pirates. So that nothing happens. Ethlyn isn't going to do much anymore. She's just going to hang around, receive a money dump from Quan to buy the bargain ring and the iron cutter, stuff for Leaf to help him get promoted earlier, because he's our Master Knight in the 2nd generation. But there isn't really much she needs to pass on, because Leaf isn't going to be fighting. He's going to be, once he promotes, he's going to be a rescue bot. So Ira's moving forward, the other mounts are far enough forward. Do visits the village to get Restore. He can sell that for even more money, and it's good to have it around. I'm not sure if there are any points where I technically need it, but if it ever comes in handy, especially in the 2nd generation, it's good that's there. So here you see Quan's second to last attack of his time on our team. It's quite sad, but he's earned his brief retirement before he gets butchered by Thracia. Speaking of Thracia, I actually don't fight them at all in this generation. They appear twice, but they just are off in the middle of nowhere, and I'm going fast enough that I bypass them entirely. It might be nice to kill the Dragon Knights that are coming from the north at this point, but because one of them has a life ring, which could really help sell us out in Chapter 6, but it would just cost so many turns to get that. Why bother? Here I had a little problem reading my notes. There was a minor hiccup. Sylvia dances, and now you're going to see Ideen warp Sylvia back home, over to Medino, sorry, And this is done so that she can move on the next turn to start getting ahead and then move again, which means that essentially instead that she can dance Sigurd after he's moved his full 9 move, giving him 2 full moves the first turn that he's warped over. And this really... and this saves turns because it gives Sigurd a lot more movement. Here this is a potentially risky enemy phase, but between Levin's high innate speed and the leadership boost from Sigurd, he's pretty good. I didn't have to RNG abuse a lot. I'm not sure what his percent chance of death is, but it's probably, well, it's almost certainly above 50. But thankfully the random numbers worked out so that I didn't have to rig. I'm actually quite glad that I barely had to rig this entire chapter. Soon is going to be the boss kill that I rig. Chagall has Vulcan on, and Levin uses Wind Magic, so that's not great. You'd expect. Here's one of the few points where Lachesis fighting is actually very important to the run, to weaken this enemy so that a continue from Quan can finish him off. And here you can, this was Quan's last attack for the playthrough, so please give him, please think of him and all he's done for the team, and I thank you for your services, Quan. Now I'm doing a bunch of RNG abuse. Oh no, this isn't the long stretch yet. Here I need to kill this Armor Knight with Holland so that Ideen can move all the way forward. This is necessary because otherwise she'd be 1 square short of warping Sigurd the turn after he seizes, which would cost me a turn, so that's obviously not something I want to have happen. Don't even bother attacking with Azel, he's never promoting his experience, doesn't matter. And now's the super long part of RNG abuse. I need Levin to land 4 Elwind hits on Chagall, so please skip ahead to 1319. Thank you for skipping ahead. Now, Levin will land 4 Elwind hits upon Chagall, putting him within range to... oh, sorry, 3. Putting him within range to be 2-shot by Hero Lance from Sigurd. The Hero Lance actually is needed in all 3 boss kills in this chapter. It's a very useful weapon. It's also good that Sigurd gets all the items because he can sell them. So that's 8 turns for this castle. The only way it could be made faster is doing Medino faster. Or maybe there is some other way, I'm not quite sure, I'd have to watch. But on 0% growths, I think this is the best possible. So thank you and we'll see you.